The other day I ranked every part in JoJo's, and I said I had a hot take. I said Stardust Crusaders was potentially the worst part in all of JoJo's. It's a take that I still stand by. I still agree with that opinion, that sentiment that part 3 might be the worst part in JoJo's. It's bottom 2 in my eyes. But honestly, to my surprise, a lot of people actually shared my exact same list, and if not, a lot of people did have part 3 on the lower side of JoJo's parts. Some people even went as far as to say that it's not even a hot take. So I decided to dig deep and actually think of some real hot takes that I have for JoJo's. And the first one is actually about Joseph Joestar. And Joseph Joestar is still one of my favorite characters in all of JoJo's. I said that much in my last video. But I decided to bring this up because I actually saw a thread on Twitter about it not too long ago, and it made me realize I don't think I've ever talked about this much. I maybe, talked about it in my part 4 video, but my take being that I actually think the fact that Joseph cheated on Susie Q hurt his character a little bit for me. And the reason I think this is a hot take, it might not be, I might just be coming out with the stone cold takes, but honestly, I don't think a lot of people even care or talk about it too much. Although admittedly, I'm not like the most engaged in JoJo's communities outside of my YouTube channel because I don't want to get spoiled. I don't want to get spoiled. But at the very least, I can say that I read my comment section, and I've seen a couple people mention it, but I've barely seen many people even bring up the fact that Joseph is a cheater. And I'm sure that like 99% don't care. I mean, still, Joseph, regardless, is one of the best characters in JoJo's in my opinion. Like I still believe that. But did he have to be a cheater? Did he have to be a cheater? Is that the way that it was written in the stars? I don't know what to say. I wish he wasn't, because I still think part 1 through part 3, the best character in all of those parts is Joseph. But this is unquestionably a giant stain on his legacy. This is like the 2011 finals for LeBron James. You can't just brush it aside. It happened. It's funny because when I did find out that Joseph cheated on Susie Q, I remember going online because I'm like, say it ain't so. Like, it can't be, right? Can't possibly be. I was in my denial stage. And then I found a lot of people talking about it, and I'm pretty sure that Araki basically confirmed it himself, like, yeah, that happened. And the fact that it did happen, it was actually one of like the determining factors where I was like, yeah, like Josuke, I just like Josuke more than Joseph, because no matter what, I can look back and say, my go, Josuke's not a cheater. Checkmate, Joseph fans. Like, how do you rebuttal that? You can't. You can't. It happened. Confirmed. This was the first hot take I wanted to talk about because it might be like the coldest one of the video, and it's pretty inconsequential. But the next one, I think it might be a little bit more on the unpopular side, because when it comes to death in JoJo's, there's a lot of great characters and there's a lot of amazing characters that die. Literally, think about your favorite character. They might have died. I think my favorite character is dead too. I don't know what Josuke's up to. He might be dead for all the universe reset, so he might as well be dead. We're never gonna see him again. But out of every single death in JoJo's, to me, the saddest death is actually Shigekio, which is unbelievable because he's not even a character that's on my radar as like one of my favorites. By no means, he might not even be one of my favorite characters in part 4, but the way that his death in specific was handled was actually heartbreaking. Because when I think about the totality of every single death in JoJo's, there's so many great characters that die. I think out of characters that actually have on-screen deaths, my favorite are of course Bruno and Caesar. So still, you would think that, oh, one of their deaths is probably going to be the saddest one in my eyes, but no, it really is Shigekio. And I'm gonna be a little bit blunt here. It may sound like I'm disrespecting the dead. I promise I'm not, because I do like Shigekio. But he starts off as kind of a loser. I mean, he is a loser. He dies as a loser. He has little to no friends. I actually don't even think he had any friends up until Josuke and Okuyasu came along. And to be like blatantly honest, he was kind of annoying, very self-centered, greedy, obnoxious, like all of the above. But his death, with him discovering the secrets of my name is Yoshikage Kira, and seeing him try to escape, try to make it to Josuke and Okuyasu, as he is literally crawling towards their classroom, bloodied, beaten, bruised, all of the above, and seeing people literally ignore him as he is dying, and to see him die moments before he is able to reach Josuke, it was very it was hurtful almost seeing the way that he died, because he died quite pathetically, nothing heroic about his death. He doesn't leave a memento like say Caesar, just flat out blatantly. Oh, and the music selection too was amazing. the music selection too was phenomenal. And this death not only made a really great job at solidifying Yoshikage Kira as a cold-blooded killer, but also turning Shigekio from the pathetic, loser, annoying character that he is into a character that I actually surprisingly sympathized with and felt extremely bad for. Like, it was one of the most soul-touching deaths in JoJo's, and I think I can say that. Again, I don't know how hot of a take this is actually, but I know that there are a lot of beloved characters in JoJo's that died. You know, you say that Bruno's death touched you the most. Avdol had a very just abrupt death. You know, like there's a lot of discussion to be had here about who had the best death in JoJo's, because I think that Araki handles death so well. Saying that Shigekio had the hardest, most touching death, it feels like a hot take, because I know that people don't really like Shigekio that much, but who knows? If nothing else, at least I got to talk about his death a little bit more in detail. But I feel like this last hot take is something that, you know, this is really the genesis of what this video about. And if so far you haven't thought that any of these takes were hot, then maybe this one will, but I'm almost afraid to say it, because what I'm about to say, it might get me demonetized on YouTube because I don't think that YouTube would ever want to support somebody with the take that I'm about to say. I hope you guys can forgive me. But I don't understand what all the love about Speedwagon is about. I said it. Now, again, I remember I said earlier on in this video, I barely have experience within the JoJo's community outside of like my own channel in my comment section, but from what I have seen, trust me, it's no secret that the Speedwagon is extremely beloved in the JoJo's fan base. But now that I've caught up to the anime, and this might just be a manga thing, right? If it's a manga thing, you can let me know, like, oh, you're stupid, right? Okay, understood. But after finishing part 1 and I saw the introduction of Speedwagon, I didn't think he was anything special. In part 2, I still didn't think he was anything that special, although I do highly respect the Speedwagon Foundation. Is the Speedwagon Foundation enough to make Speedwagon like my favorite character in JoJo's? I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I don't know if this is some elaborate, you know, psyop from the JoJo's community or something. If this is one giant jest where everybody just coordinated and said, look, let's name random JoJo's character over here. Not random, he's not random, but Speedwagon? Like, if I went on Twitter and I went into all these JoJo spaces and I saw people talking about, oh, let's all love Narancia, I'd be like, yeah, understandable, as you should, right? Narancia's one of the best. But Speedwagon? Like, again, don't get, his loyalty is something that is unmatched. Like, we're talking part 6 and we still have the Speedwagon Foundation helping out the Joestars. Come on, that's you gotta love that and you gotta admire that. But it gets to a point where I see people calling him the best JoBro. And this is your opinion. Like, if you genuinely think, oh, Speedwagon is the best JoBro, I'm not here to disrespect you, and I'm not here to invalidate what you think. If you think Speedwagon is the greatest JoJo's character of all time, look, you do you. But I feel like there must be some giant component to his character that I am missing. As somebody who like makes JoJo's videos now, you have to understand it, right? It would be so disingenuous of me if I just sat here and was like, isn't Speedwagon the best? No, guys, I literally don't know what you see in him. I don't know. I don't get it. JoJo's roster, characters, there's so many great characters in JoJo's. Literally, it has one of the best casts in all of anime. Yet, out of every single character, out of literally every single character in JoJo, Speedwagon is the one that has the fan base just wrapped around his finger. How? Who knows though? This is a hot take video for a reason. So these were the hottest takes I could think of. Trust me, I literally sat in my room and I was just thinking like, what do I think is the best stand in JoJo's? Killer Queen? That's literally the tamest take ever. Though I'm sure that everybody out there that's more familiar with JoJo's than me, y'all probably have hotter takes as well as like more nuanced takes if you're more familiar with like the lore of JoJo's, etc. It's something that I'm interested about and I'm interested in reading, but I also want to do a sit down where I go over the community's hottest takes. You know, like I'll find some hot takes in the comment section that you guys comment and I'll put it on screen and I'll go over why I agree with it or I don't agree with it. So if that interests you, let me know. Comment down some hot takes and I'll see you guys in the next video.